Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Howard from Catalinbread back at you once again, and today I'm here with a couple Belle Epochs and a Royal Albert Hall, a RAH pedal, and I thought today would be a good time to talk about some tips and techniques and insight about the Belle Epoch pedal. Now, one thing that comes up a lot is, do I put the Belle Epoch before dirt or do I put it after dirt? And so I've got it set up both ways so we can listen and talk about the approaches you would use for either way. So anyway, back to the task at hand here. So we got two Belle Epochs, like I said, and the Royal Albert Hall as our overdrive, our foundation pedal, our amp in the box. And the amp in the box note is key in this discussion because do you want to run the Belle Epoch into the amp or after the amp? If you run into the amp, you get the classic Echoplex sound because that's really the way people ran it back in the day in the 70s. They would run their Echoplex straight into their high watt or their Marshall or whatnot. And a lot of times the amps are cranked up, so they're saturating a little bit, and so that would saturate the echo a bit too, and it changes the sound. And I will say that if you run the Belle Epoch in front of the amp in the box, you get the most authentic Echoplex response that way. And you're also taking advantage of the discrete preamp because a lot of people like what the Echoplex preamp does to their sound, to their amp, just by playing into it. So you get the full benefit of that by plugging into the Belle Epoch and then into the amp pedal or into the actual, if you're running your amp and you're playing a Marshall or something and you've got overdrive in the amp, you're running it in front rather than the effects loop. But you can run it after too. So if you run it in front, one thing I like to do, and I'm going to turn this echo repeats down, so there's only one repeat, and I'm going to talk more about these knobs in a little bit, but I'm going to set the minimum delay time here, and I'm going to play a chord now. So that's straight into the RAH, and I'm going to have the Belle Epoch on with the minimum delay setting and real light kind of a setting. So with a little bit of the boost from the preamp and just a little bit of that slapback, and I can set a little bit lighter with the record level. I like running it like that a lot for thickener, and if you're running it in front of the dirt pedal, it works great for that. Now, if you're trying to do some of the classic sounds, like let's say Jimmy Page, Dazed and Confused. Now, my violin bow, I apologize, it's at the dry cleaners, so I can't use that today, but I'll just have to use a pick. And, like the Jimmy Page thing where he's going. So, that kind of thing. So having it set like that and hitting the RAH, that works great. That's real authentic for that. And what you end up with is a delay sound that's more upfront because it's being saturated by the amp, and you actually get compression between your dry signal and the tape signal, and to me, it actually sounds tapier if you set it that way. Now, if you go after the pedal, and I've got this one on here. What you can do with this is you get more of a background sound. So if you're trying to use it more for ambient fill and you don't really want those repeats to rhythmically impose on your playing, then put it after the dirt pedal and so you can hear it's still pretty prominent the way I have it set now, but it's kind of still feels more in the background. And I can set it even more subtle here. So putting it after the foundation amp in the box is great if you just want a little bit more of an ambient fill. And then putting up front makes it more up front sounding. And so I'm going to do the up front one again here. And I'm going to share with you real quickly one of my favorite settings on the Belle Epoch, which is to set the delay time at noon. And the record level here, I'm going to talk about the record level mix more in a little bit, but I like this for doing this rhythmic thing. You probably heard me do this before if you watched some of the demos, but I'm going to do it again just because it's fun. So that's what I like to do when I have it in front. You get this real nice rhythmic bounce back. And if I do the same kind of thing after it, it sounds cool too, but it's just a little different and it's not quite as upfront. So even if you set the mix and the record level a little hotter, it still sounds more in the background. So it really depends on what you're looking for. I would say if you're using a lot of distortion, I'm using like, a cranked up amp sound. It works great to have it in front. But if you're using a lot of fuzz and distortion, then sometimes it's better to put it at the end. So really the short of it all is to experiment. But if you want the ultimate Echoplex type sound response, put it in front or crank your amp up. And let those repeats saturate into the amp. Because then you get you get that great tapey sound there.